They say in Blackpine, even a scream forgets itself before reaching the trees. Locals don't speak of the forest, they whisper about it. And those whispers, they're not just stories, they're signs. 20 years ago, a body was found beneath inside the Blackpine. No ID, no known cause of death. Just a porcelain mask covering the face and an eerie sense that someone had gone to great lengths to make sure he stayed a mystery. Since then, rumors have spread like wildfire. Some think it was a cult, others say it was a message. But the truth, it's buried somewhere between evidence and silence. This is the case of the masked man in Blackpine, and even after all this time, no one knows who he was or why he had to die. The hikers who found the body were three friends from out of town: Eli, Marcus, and Dana. They were college students on fall break, camping along the Blackpine Trail. Around noon, while looking for a spot to eat lunch, Marcus noticed something odd in a shallow dip by a cluster of pine trees. At first, he thought it was a mannequin. The porcelain mask was smooth, expressionless, its white surface untouched, almost too clean for the muddy forest floor. But then Dana noticed the hand, pale, cold, partially visible beneath a layer of pine needles. That's when they realized this wasn't some prank. It was real. They called the police immediately, staying by the site until authorities arrived. Dana later told investigators that the whole scene felt deliberate, like someone wanted the body to be found, but not too easily. The man had no signs of external trauma, no blood, no bruising, just that mask. Forensics placed his time of death at roughly 48 hours earlier. The mask had no fingerprints, no fibers. It was blank, figuratively and literally. The cops canvassed the area. No footprints beyond the hikers. No tire marks near any trailheads. Whoever left the body had planned it carefully. And the most baffling part? Missing persons databases turned up nothing. No one matching his description had been reported missing in the last 6 months. The investigators were left with a body, a mask, and a forest full of silence. Back at the station, the autopsy only deepened the mystery. Male, mid-30s, healthy heart, clear lungs. No trauma or sign of toxins. Just gone, like a light switch flipped off. Detective Rachel Hayes was assigned the investigation. There were no personal items on the body, nothing to hint at where he came from or where he was going. His clothes were plain, weather-appropriate, but oddly sterile, like they'd never really been worn. They found a rental car days later, abandoned on a service road near the trailhead. Stripped plates, spotless interior, registration wiped. Whoever he was, he didn't want to be followed. Local hotels hadn't seen him. Surveillance footage offered only a blurry shot from a gas station miles away. He kept his head down, paid in cash, wore a hat. It wasn't just that he was missing from the system. It felt like he had erased himself before stepping into the woods. Detectives quietly started referring to him as John Mask. Not out of disrespect, just a way to speak about someone who didn't leave anything to speak of. He didn't disappear after death. He'd been disappearing long before it. The only clue was the porcelain mask. Forensics traced its rare glaze to a long-defunct artisan collective in Belarus, destroyed in a fire in 2004. No survivors, no records. The mask was molded with unsettling precision, fitted so perfectly to the victim's face that it almost seemed engineered for them. Detective Rachel had seen countless crime scenes in her career, but this one stayed with her. The mask wasn't concealing the victim's identity. It felt deliberate, like part of a performance no one was meant to understand. Its blank, polished face lingered in her mind long after the evidence had been bagged. A retired colleague, brought in for second eyes, admitted something strange. After reviewing the photos, he couldn't sleep. He described feeling boxed in, like the mask was looking back. "It's not just to hide the face," he said. "It's meant to make you forget it ever had one." The investigation dragged. No prints, not even witnesses. No one reported anyone missing who fit the description. The victim was buried under the placeholder name John Mask. Rachel kept pushing, but eventually even she had to let go. Months later, she quietly retired. The mask was locked away. The town moved on. The case stalled and remained unsolved for nearly 2 decades. until someone else came looking. Someone named Elena. Cut to March 2024, digital archivist Elena Maris stumbled upon a long-forgotten file buried deep within a dusty FOIA archive. Amongst outdated records and forgotten histories, she found something that made her heart race. CT scans of the victim's skull. She carefully reconstructed his face, her fingers trembling as she realized the truth. The victim matched the missing persons report from 2003, Lucas Emery. Lucas was presumed dead after a fire ravaged his home in Detroit, leaving no trace of his body. The fire had been ruled accidental, but his life was anything but ordinary. Before vanishing, he had been under investigation for his involvement in a massive data breach. His case had gone cold, just another unsolved mystery in a long list of forgotten crimes. Elena dug deeper into Lucas's past, uncovering a fragment of a journal hidden on his father's old backup drive. The words within painted a chilling picture. The trees are the only ones who know. I hear them whisper. I'm waiting. When they come, I won't fight. But I won't show my face. Lucas had written about a forest where the silence felt unnatural, where the trees seemed to bend and twist under an unseen force. He had been drawn to Blackpine long before the body was discovered. His connection to the town now seemed undeniable, though its meaning remained elusive. The final words of his journal hit Elena like a punch. When the second mask appears, the silence will break. She paused, the weight of those words settling over her. The pieces were beginning to fall into place. Lucas, the mask, and the strange events in Blackpine were no longer separate threads. They were all linked. The eerie silence of the town, the strange disappearances, the unexplained happenings, all of it now pointed towards something darker. As Elena peeled back the layers of Lucas Emery's life, she uncovered something far more unsettling than a man on the run. His journal, once grounded in logic and routine, dissolved into a maze of paranoia and riddles. They come when you know too much, and they never look the same twice, he wrote in one fevered entry. But the line that haunted her most was, "The mask isn't to hide me, it's to keep them from knowing I see them." Lucas hadn't simply disappeared. He had orchestrated his own vanishing act. The fire in Detroit, the suspicious data breach, the silence that followed, it wasn't chaos, it was control. Elena followed the trail and found that every record, every trace of him, had been deliberately scrubbed. Lucas hadn't fled. He had erased himself. The deeper she went, the more Lucas's terror became her own. His fear wasn't rooted in guilt or exposure. It was tied to the forest, the same one that had swallowed so many others, into the masks, which now felt less like artifacts and more like warnings. Something in those woods had terrified him so deeply that he'd given up his name, his face, his entire life to escape it. And now Elena understood. The masks weren't just remnants of folklore. They were protection. They were recognition. They were fear made real. Lucas hadn't been hiding from people. He had been hiding from something unseen. Elena thought she had finally cracked the case. The skull found in Blackpine Forest seemed to match Lucas Emery. The CT scan reconstruction aligned with old photos. The fire that destroyed his Detroit home, the data breach he was tied to, it all pointed to him. Out of nowhere, a second porcelain mask appeared, nailed to a tree deep in Blackpine, flipping everything. Something didn't sit right. Elena reached out to Detective Rachel Hayes, who had once worked the original investigation. The two combed through everything again. The second mask changed things. Elena needed to be sure. They ordered a DNA test on the skull. The results left them speechless. It wasn't Lucas. Despite everything, the face, the timeline, the mystery, it wasn't him. The man in the forest was someone else entirely. Now the case was even more disturbing. Two people, both connected to the same forest. One still unidentified. One missing, still out there. And the deeper they looked, the stranger it all became. The forest wasn't giving up its secrets. The second mask hadn't solved anything. It only made the silence louder. The case remained unsolved. Elena thought the puzzle was solved, until the DNA said otherwise. The body wasn't Lucas. 2 lives, 1 forest, and only 1 mask ever claimed. Days after the second appeared, Elena stopped responding. Her sight went dark, her files wiped. Rachel tried reaching out. Nothing. Drop your theories below if you think you've figured it out. This is Mind Unfolded. Until next time, stay curious but never too close.